So this is like the fucking 50th time I've tried to record this video. I don't even know if I even feel the point of the video anymore, because I've done talked about it so much. But the first several videos I cried a lot, and that's just not happening. Those aren't getting posted. My dog's being a dickhead and like bugabooing me right now. See her while I'm trying to concentrate and stuff. Just observing myself and the way I've changed in just the last, like, say 6 months. I've learned that you really can't depend on anyone else. You can to a certain level, but you are all you got when the day's said and done. No one else is going to be there. That's just what it is. It doesn't matter how much they say they'll be there. They may intend to be there, but they're not going to be. I guess it started, 15 months ago when Rosalie and I broke up. And it was a pretty devastating situation, I think, on both sides, but it was really devastating for me. I try not to hate her. I try not to be angry with her. I don't hate her. I try not to be angry with her because, like, I look back now and I know she was sick, but there was a lot of manipulation, a lot of lying. From what I hear, a lot of cheating. I'm not real sure about that, but it's come from several sources, pretty reliable sources. And it didn't stop when I left Florida. It kept going for months and months afterwards. In fact, it didn't stop until about 3 months ago. It did stop. I guess, back in around July or August, she kept calling, and, I kept going back. I kept saying, okay, we'll try again. But I knew what was going to happen. I don't like to put nobody's business out there, but I'm not one to be able to say no to somebody when I really care about them and I can see it's something they really want. And I knew at one point that I did really love her. And I was thinking, maybe we could get back there again. Because the honest truth was, I grew up watching my grandparents just love each other. 50 years, my grandfather died when I was 12 years old. And I'm 32, and my grandmother's still alive. She does have dementia. But even up, 3 years ago, before the dementia got her really bad, she was his wife. He'd been dead 17 years, and she was still his wife. When he was alive and they were together, they went through things that were designed to tear them apart, not just as a couple, but as individuals as well. And I believe a whole lot of the reason that they survived those particular things was because of each other, was because of the love they had for each other and the trust that they had in each other, that no matter what happened or no matter what came their way, that they would face it together. See, that's my idea of love. It's not supposed to be easy. I don't think it's supposed to be easy. But I do believe it's something worth fighting for. When I first started making these videos, I was really in my feelings. And, I wanted to talk about, how when I left Florida, I still had some glimmer of hope in my life or in my heart or in my mind for those who, are looking for that somebody, that we can trust another person with our heart. And I wanted to discredit that and say, we can't. But honestly, the 10 times I've shot this video and talked it out and tried to get it right for the public where it made sense, I've actually talked myself out of that as well. It's really hard for me to do this. I'm not really good with emotional stuff. I'm good with showing it but not talking about it. Um, I did still believe in love when I left Florida. I still believe that, you know, we could, you know, trust that there was somebody for everybody, or most everybody, and that, you know, we could trust others to love us and not let us down and not hurt us. I think in a sense I do fuck things up, or tend to fuck things up, because when I do love someone, I tend to put them on a pedestal when I love them in that manner, or even not that manner. I do the same thing to like my mother and grandmother, and, you know, stuff like that. But when I love someone and I admire them, and, you know, just in awe of them, I do put them on a pedestal, and I tend to hold them to higher regards than I should, because we are all human and we all fall short. No one's perfect. So we will let each other down, you know, even in that kind of setting, you're going to let each other down. But you'll also always hold each other up. If you really love each other, you'll hold each other up as well. I do get really melodramatic about things, especially when someone lets me down and I feel like that they've let me down and they shouldn't have. I do let my emotions take over. I do react rather than act at times, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Everything else, I'm pretty cool-headed, but I'm a pretty passionate person. And when it comes to matters of the heart, I do tend to get a little erratic. And that's my fault. You know, I wanted to get on here and say, like I have the last fucking 50 videos, that, you know, none of us are worthy. None of us are capable of loving someone else and not hurting them and standing by them and not leaving them. But the truth is, we are capable of it. Our problem is ego. Ego has taken over our lives as a human race. That's the problem with the world, period. And that's the problem with a lot of the love situations, in any aspect, not just romantic, but love situations today. We let our ego and our pride stand in the way of that love, and of showing that love, and of standing by that love. I had something happen a few months ago that hurt me in a way that I never ever thought that I could be hurt, and it's still a bit of a mystery to me. I've had some insight from some special friends that have helped me to figure it out a little bit, but it's still a mystery as to how, you know, I didn't spend a significant amount of time with this person. It was, you know, a thing, you know, lasted about a year, you know, fucking confusing, just wonderful fucking thing. And when I felt like that ended, it devastated me on a level that I had never been devastated before in my life. And at that point, it changed me. I don't want to go through the negatives of that whole breakup or whatever it was, but it was devastating to the point where, if I did not get high, if I did not find something to make me not feel what I was feeling, the fucking hopelessness and desperation, like I had lost a part of myself, and not even like a part of myself, but like a part of me that had grown there within, you know, the time we'd spent together. Like it had just been severed, like it was just gone. And it was like that piece that completes you. You know, that piece that you never know is missing until you have it and it's not there anymore. It was a fucking heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching, just really bad experience. Really good, beautiful, horrible, fucking amazing, awesome, fucking killer, I never want to do that again experience. It was all of those things. And you know, it's still not something that I've completely worked through. I haven't touched hard drugs in a couple months. Nothing harder than this, and or that beer down there. But we all cope in our own ways, and I really don't give a fuck if you judge me, but I had to cope that way. That's my coping mechanism, and it surprises people sometimes, but I've really learned to fake it. I can get up every day and I can fake it. I used to be an addict that people knew was an addict because I acted like an addict. You really got to know what an addict is and see the signs of the physical signs most of the time of drug use to know that I'm on drugs now, or know me really well. I don't do them every day, but that's not even what this is about. The point is, it was a very, very, very emotional, just a very, very intense experience. So intense that I'm just now talking about it publicly. I might have had faint Facebook posts or whatever, but I never really put it out there how much I was in love with her, am in love with her. Probably will always be. It's not so much now that I handle it okay because it's it's gone. I don't feel it anymore. That's not it at all. I've just learned to accept it for what it is. During this time, I was lucky enough to have someone who I consider a very close friend, who's been a very close friend of mine for a long time. We've had a connection, I guess, for the past couple years, probably a few years anyway, some type of connection to where it was maybe not outspoken, but there was definite tension or feelings there that were not on just a friendship level. I was lucky enough to have her help me through that situation and be there for me and support me in every way, and give me a reason to try and be okay. And during that process, I did develop feelings that maybe I shouldn't have. I'm not real sure what happened. I don't like putting, I don't really feel a lot of self-pity or anything like that, but it's just a situation, kind of like Rosalia. Like, I did my best at everything. From a certain point, I do fall short, I do fall weak at times, but I pick myself up and I try to do better. And it's to a point now where I just don't know. I just feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like it's gotten to the point where she feels like it's not good enough. And it's really frustrating when you do your best to show somebody that you really care about them, that you love them, that you believe that you could, have a life together. Despite of what the pain you may feel from the recent past, or the connection you still feel for this person, and to have them go, it don't even matter. I don't want to put fault on anyone at this time, but it did make me question a lot of things. And I started out this video wanting to discredit love and discredit the human race and say that we are incapable of loving each other. But the honest truth is, if we just let go of the fear and our ego and our pride and our fear of being made a fool of or being hurt, that we are completely capable of loving each other. We're capable of so much as a race, so much. And I really don't know what to do right now. I'm a little confused myself. But what I can tell you is, love, while it might not be fragile, love itself, the kind of love you have for your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or your wife or even your children or mother or father. Just love in general. Love in itself is not fragile, but being in love is very fragile. It is a weapon. It can be a weapon. You know, it can destroy someone. It can take them higher than they've ever been, but it can also destroy them. I'm not here to fault anybody for anything, because I do believe that we all probably react on the experiences we've been through. But please, you know, think about what you do. I know a lot of us do what feels good in that moment. Shit, most of us do what feels good in the moment most of the time. You know, ethical and moral, you know, standards might coerce that a little, might make it a little different, but we all do in the moment what feels good. Just make sure, you know, that what feels good in that moment, what you're doing, isn't going to hurt somebody in the next moment. We can't all, you know, always do that, because we are human, and I do believe we do things unintentionally, and I do believe that I've been hurt unintentionally. I don't believe it was intentional at all, either time. But you have to realize, you know, no matter the words you say, your actions speak louder than your words. Every time. And if you know, if it's not something you can follow through with, or if it's not something you mean, or, you know, if it's not something you're saying because you mean it, because you want to stand behind it, then don't say it. Don't do it. Just don't. I've done it myself. You know, this is probably karma, like a motherfucker. I've done it myself. All I can say is, at this point in time, I'm going to do what's good for me. And I'm going to build my life. And whoever's meant to be in it's going to be in it. I'm tired of games. And I feel like that, whether intentional or unintentional, there's been a lot of games played on both sides, including me. And I'm just not doing it anymore. You shouldn't either. Facebook, don't do it anymore. You understand me? You set your boundaries. Don't let nobody use you like that. It don't matter how you feel about them. Fuck your feelings. Don't let nobody hurt you to the point that you think that nobody can love you, or that you can't love anybody, that you're not capable of it. Don't let anyone hurt you to that point. And for God's sakes, guys, friends don't fuck each other. Okay, friends may fuck each other, but friends do not have intimate moments with each other. Friends do not hold hands with each other. Friends do not date each other. That's not what friends do. And it's not a valid excuse when you say, well, I told you in the beginning you were going to get hurt. That's not a valid excuse. Like I said, actions speak louder than words. A lot of the time words don't speak because people are simply afraid to speak them, or they don't know how to. So your actions and what you do says a lot about how you feel about that person and the situation. So if it's not something that you can do, if it's not something you're ready to do, if it's not something you're capable of doing, then how about you think about, in that moment, the long term, and what it's going to do to that person, what it could do to you, what it could do to your friendship, your relationship. You know, play out the tape. And hey, yo, I'm gonna be just fine. Really. So, y'all holla. Be good.